in the final session of the monthly recurring revenue bootcamp. It is the masterclass on the 5 steps to filling your offers. It is such a pleasure to be here with you. I want to kick off by saying thank you. Thank you to those who have participated in the bootcamp. Thank you for those who have jumped in and taken the next steps inside of Freedom Safari, my group coaching program. And thanks to those who have upgraded and started working with me one-on-one in my Wing Woman offer. Thank you so much for all of the comments. Thank you so much for submitting all of your homework. Thank you so much for being here. It has been so much fun launching one of my steps in the 5 steps to filling your offers. So go ahead and let me know where you are watching from. I am broadcasting this session all over the show. I should be able to see if you comment. Let me know where you are. I am in the process of preparing for my in-person retreat in the actual bush. I leave tomorrow to head off to Swaziland. I have got some serious swag. I'll show you my swag. Coming to you live from my studio co-working space. Swag stands for stuff we all get. This whole table is full of swag that I'm packing. We've got the beautiful workbooks. We've got some delicious bath salts and bath eggs and a little sample of what the box look like. And that is for those who are meeting me in the Business in the Bush Mastermind Retreat in Swaziland this weekend, which I'm so excited about. For those who didn't know, that is the pay in full bonus of my coaching program. If you pay in full and you join, right at the end, we get to meet in the bush together. So it could be you. It could be you if you jump into Freedom Safari. So first things first, before I start teaching what the 5 steps are, I want to just make sure I'm just going to go into the group and just check that this is indeed streaming and copy the link into the event. Bear with me for a second. You can go ahead and write any questions you have in the comments while I do that. And then I'm going to jump in and teach you really what is the most important thing to understand. Okay, cool. It's working. The most important thing to understand about selling online. I had a wonderful call this morning with somebody who enrolled in Freedom Safari, who shared with me her frustration and her disappointment and her confusion that when she decided to start coaching online and put her coaching offer together, she didn't know that the hard part was actually going to be selling it, getting people into the program. So maybe that's you. Maybe you're like, yay, I've done the offer bootcamp, which is amazing. I hope you did work through each of those lessons and put together what your monthly recurring revenue offer is. But now comes the important ingredient. So some of you know that my background was that I was a corporate trainer. Corporate training was a very seasonal type of job. You didn't get corporate training gigs in December. You didn't get corporate training gigs in the school holidays. There's just typically times that corporates run training. And one of my side hustles that I started as a result of trying to balance out that inconsistent income was Airbnb. So very long story short, I knew I needed to get out of corporate training. I took every expensive American course. I flew to the States more than once. I spent literally tens of thousands of dollars to learn very advanced digital marketing skills. And I thought I was going to make my first program in the things that I used to teach online about the things I used to teach in person online. So presentation skills workshops, pitch and structured thinking, facilitation, all of the stuff that I used to do in the corporate space. But once I learned the power of these advanced digital marketing skills and what you could teach online and how many people you could reach, I decided that I didn't want to continue to teach my corporate stuff anymore. I wanted to teach things that actually I thought were more useful to more people. And one of the very first courses I put together was how to set up an Airbnb, because that had been something that I had been doing for a long time. I've been a host on Airbnb since 2013. and had literally hundreds of guests over those years. So I put together my first program, which became really successful. It made, I can't remember the exact figure now, but it's in the videos. It was like close to R1 million in the first year that I put it on sale. And one of the things that I like to compare when I talk about an Airbnb business and when I talk about how to sell your mentorship, retainer, coaching, membership offers is that in an Airbnb, most people think that the subject matter of an Airbnb business is the space, you know. But in a very similar kind of way to an online business, an Airbnb business is you set up the space once. It's a lot of work, you've got to do a lot of shopping, you've got to have a bit of style, you've got to create your listing. You set it up once, and that is not actually the ongoing work of the business. The ongoing work of an Airbnb business is, surprising to a lot of people, laundry, linen. That is the ongoing activity of running an Airbnb. And in a very similar way, once you have set up your offers in a one-to-many group coaching format or a membership format, or even in a one-on-one coaching format where you have put in the hard work of putting your framework together, that delivering the coaching is no longer the main activity of this kind of business. There's a surprising main activity. Guess what it is? Being a publisher, being a marketer. And that doesn't look the same for every single person, but it is the ongoing activity that you do have to spend time on every week, no matter if you've made your assets. So if you've built out your membership or you've built out your course or you've built out your coaching framework, that becomes a leveraged part of your business. It's not the time-intensive part of your business, but what you do have to do is work on your business from a marketing perspective. So let me jump in now and tell you about those phases on how to fill your offers. If you've devised an offer in our bootcamp and you think you're gonna just put it up on your website and that people are gonna buy it, I'm here to tell you that is very unlikely to happen. People don't tend to seek you out and look on your website and buy your things. Rather, you have to take them on a very intentional journey, and that journey comes in 3 phases. So there are 3 phases to fill out your offer. The first phase is the influence phase. So in the influence phase, you build up an audience. And when I say build up an audience, I don't mean you post something on social media every day and hope and pray that you've got an audience following you. That's actually not how it works. When I say build an audience, I mean you build an email database of exactly the right person who is going to buy your offer. And the way that you do that is you create something called a lead magnet. You must have seen these if you've ever been scrolling on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever you are. It's a little offer that says, hey, take this free thing and in exchange, give me your email address. Now, that free thing has to be valuable, and it's usually the first problem that you can solve for someone on their pain to pleasure journey, their transformation journey, the journey that you're helping them with. And it's got to be something useful and something that people believe that they want. Excuse me. And in exchange for that little valuable thing, people give their email address. And then once you have people in their email in your database, you send them a weekly communication. That could be a weekly newsletter, it could be a weekly post on your Facebook, on your socials. That little process, which is what we call the influence phase, is such a significant foundation in this kind of business when you want to be selling mentorship and courses. Excuse me. I'm going to talk about launching during the solar eclipse in a minute. I'm sure there's lots of people who've got fascinating ideas around that, but all of the bizarre tech that I've been experiencing has got no other explanation other than a supernatural one. Now suddenly got a frog in my throat. I haven't coughed in months. Okay, so let's go back. What was I saying? Okay, so this influence phase where you build a database of email addresses is so important. You have to build up an audience and you have to build up a relationship with an audience. Now, I don't want to freak you out, but I like to advise that my students and my clients that I work on one-on-one with build a database of 1,000 people. And that can happen really fast because you've got at least 3 ways that you're going to get eyeballs on your lead magnet to get into your database. 1, ads, paid ads. In South Africa right now, depending on your niche, you could pay 3 Rand per email address to Facebook. That's the lowest I've seen, or like me in this launch that I'm currently in right now, between 50 and 100 Rand. So if you signed up to the monthly recurring revenue bootcamp off of an ad on Facebook, I paid Facebook somewhere between 50 and 100 Rand for you to come into my world. So that is one way. A second way is through organic posting. So that's when you post on your social media. It's relevant to the audience. It speaks to all of their experiences, and they find you through just the natural organic algorithm, and they download your stuff. And then the third way, which is also a very powerful way, is through partnership, which means people who have the same audience as you share your thing, and their audience opts in. So over time, you build a database and you build a relationship with the people in your database. By relationship, I mean they get to know you, they get to understand your values, they get to understand if they like you. Sometimes people just don't like the sound of your voice. I had somebody send me a long email this morning telling me that they didn't like how much I moved when I was talking. It gave them motion sickness. Like, that free influence phase is very important for somebody to understand if they connect with you or not. So once you've gone through the influence phase, then you move into the income phase. The income phase is when you host an event to allow people to have a very intensive experience of working with you in a 1-to-group format, and that often looks like a 5-day boot camp, a challenge, a masterclass, a 4-part video series. You let them taste what it's like to work with you, no matter what you're selling. This is if you're selling one-on-one coaching, this is if you're selling one-to-many group coaching, this is if you're selling a membership, it doesn't matter. And then off of the back of that, you make an offer to the audience and the participants to enroll and work with you in a more serious paid way. And whatever your offer is, it gets presented to them, and then they have a limited period of time to buy it. So that is the income phase. And then, of course, you have to deliver the thing that you sold. You've got to knock their socks off. You've got to get fantastic testimonials. We call that social proof. And you go through a full iteration of that before you move into the third phase, which we call the impact phase. So once you've done that and you understand all the moving parts, you understand what your audience wants, how to get them into your world, how to host a launch event and make an offer, how to deliver on that offer, then in the impact phase, you can tweak what you need to tweak to start all the way from the beginning and repeat. So it becomes a rinse and repeat business model. Many of the assets that have been involved in this launch that you are watching now, I'm in the income phase where I am making an offer to enroll in my programs. I am rinsing and repeating assets that were made in previous versions of the launches. What do I mean by assets? I mean the actual training. I mean the actual sales page. I mean the actual emails. I mean the actual graphics. This masterclass that I'm giving now, I have given many, many times before, where I take people through what the influence, income, and impact phases are of a digital business model. So those are the 3 phases that you will go through. And the 5 steps that I want to talk about is the 5 steps of the income phase. So there are steps inside the income phase on how to fill your offers. You don't just make a post on Facebook and say, come and work with me one-on-one, and then people come and work with you. There's a lot more of a deliberate messaging structure involved in that. So when you know that you are going to launch, this is step 1. You go through a planning phase. You name the offer. You make the sales page. You decide what the event is going to be, and you get all of your planning done. And then you go into what my mentor Jeff Walker calls pre-launch. That is a period of time. It's usually 8 weeks before you're planning on making an offer. You start putting out very strategic content to warm up your audience and let them know that your program is coming. That builds anticipation, that builds excitement. You might even send them a survey and get their information or their opinion on what needs to be in a program so that they have co-created it with you. And then if you do have social proof, if you have been working one-on-one with people, you'll start making posts and including in your emails case studies of the work that you have done, whether it's in your current format or just showcasing your experience. You'll make sure that you tell your story of how you came to be in this space. And then about 3 weeks before, you will start inviting people to sign up to your launch event. And once you're in that phase, you will start putting out content that shows them why they should care and why they should come. Then the next phase, which Jeff Walker calls pre-launch, is the actual event. So we've got the prep, we've got pre-launch, then we've got pre-launch. Pre-launch is the actual event where you demonstrate value. So right now, if you have been part of my monthly recurring revenue bootcamp, that is my pre-launch, where I give you a real chance for you to see how I talk, how I teach, how I explain things, really to get a proper taster of the work and the methodology that I use. And when you design your launch event and you are in pre-launch, you will give your clients and your students a chance to understand your work and your style and your voice and your way of being, so that they are either extremely attracted to you or, as important, extremely repelled from you. Like I told you, I had a wonderful, beautiful soul send me a gracious piece of feedback this morning with permission. First, an email saying, hey, can I give you some feedback? And I said, yes, please, absolutely do. And then a lovely, beautiful, gently worded email about typos and mismatched fonts and my tech issues that I experienced during this launch. Telling me that she knows I'm really professional and she knows I've got great results for my clients, but she wonders if I'm losing people because of that. And I shared with her a little secret, which I'm going to share with you now, which is that my number one teaching point that I have with my students, that I help them with, my clients, that they struggle with, is perfectionism, judgment, and visibility. Those 3. So if you're thinking, oh my God, Tamron, I could never go live on Facebook, I could never put myself out there, I want to tell you that you can. And I want to tell you why. Here's the framing that I teach in my programs. You are not aiming for a perfect anything. In fact, the goal is to reach a B-. And I actually borrowed that framing from Amy Porterfield, who is a huge voice in this online business space and digital marketing space. She says, shipped is better than perfect. So instead of trying to aim for an A+ and never getting it out the door, maybe you're watching me, I can see there's a bunch of you watching me right now, maybe you are watching me right now, and you have something you've been sitting on for days or weeks or months or maybe even years, and you haven't shipped it out the door because you want it to be glossy, you want it to be perfect, and you want it to look like what your business would look like 5 years down the line instead of what it has to look like on day one. And if that is you, then the big relief, the big news is the goal is actually a B-. So when I got that feedback and I said, you know what, I actually intentionally aim for a B-, and I intentionally make sure that people can see that it doesn't have to be perfect, because in my niche, that matters, that counts. So if there's a major tech glitch, no big deal. If there was a typo, maybe I'll change it, maybe I won't. It doesn't affect the outcome of my launch. And most importantly, speaking to my point of why you do a free event, it will repel. If somebody's put off that there was a typo in my text, or that my sound conked out, or that I needed to drink water while I was coughing, or any of the other things that don't have to be perfect, if that repels someone, they need to be repelled, because they won't enjoy being in my program. They won't enjoy my style. They won't enjoy sipping G&Ts with me on the boat. They won't enjoy my kind of coaching. And if it's not important to you, or if it's kind of cool, or if you kind of enjoy it and you think, there's something here, you will be attracted to me. So the same force at which I attract people is the force at which I must repel the wrong person. And that was the response I gave her. And that is going to be true for you too. So when you do your own launch event, whatever that might be, you will repel people. And that's good, because the force at which you repel people is the same force at which you will attract the right people during your launch event. So that is the phase that must happen. Then at the end of your launch event, you will open your cart. So this is the fourth step. Open cart. I see somebody's giving me a heart for that. So true. Open cart is the period at which your enrollment is open. And it's usually open for a finite period of time, because at the end, the thing that you sold begins. So in my case, my cart is open right now for my group coaching program, which is called Freedom Safari, and it closes on Wednesday evening, because I then go into the bush, celebrate the end of the last round of Freedom Safari, and then when I come out the bush, the new round of Freedom Safari kicks off. So it has a time restriction. And in your case, it will have a time restriction too. So just to summarize, you have your planning and your prep, you have your pre-launch where you tell people what's coming and you get excitement and anticipation. You have your pre-launch, which is your free event where you teach your little butt off and you let people know what you're all about and what you can help them with. Then you have your open cart period where people can enroll and buy your stuff. And then once your cart is closed, you have the onboarding and the delivery phase. And those are the 5 important steps to sell your offer. Now, they can be a grand affair, what I call an A launch, where you spend a whole bunch of money on ads and you've got 29 emails and lots of graphics and videos and all kinds of things. Or they could be a B launch, where it's not such an intense experience, or even a C launch where you're only simply sending a series of emails. So they can get more and more elaborate depending on where you are in your business. But those are the 5 phases to selling your offer. And they are by far the hardest part to master in this business model. And that is why my programs are about how to go through the influence phase, into the income phase, and into the impact phase. And I focus particularly on the challenges that South Africans have. So I have a piece of software that you can use with a 6-month subscription that is included in the Freedom Safari coaching package. I have the tech done for you. The templates are set up. You just supply your words, and we connect it all in the background, because I remember how hard that is when you are first starting out. When I first started out, I paid somebody 2,000 Australian dollars to connect 2 little pages together for me, and they didn't even do a great job. And I remember how I sickled and I struggled and I waited 24 hours, 48 hours for support tickets to get answered on expensive American software, and it was an absolute nightmare. So that is why it is included. And I also remember how frustrating it was when I joined these big, expensive American programs. The first American program I joined was $2,500 US. It was only a video course that had a monthly group coaching call that had so many people on it. It was back in the day where people were not even using Zoom for this kind of thing. It was like proper teleconferencing. You had to put your hand up, and you didn't even have a guaranteed chance that somebody was going to unmute you and let you ask your question. I remember I was pregnant with my son, and I was running training in India, and I was trying to attend the American time zone group coaching call, And I literally passed out on my laptop and like woke up and the call was ended. And like that is how hard it used to be. And that is why I include one-on-one support in my group coaching program. You get 3 one-on-one sessions with me where we get on a call together on Zoom and I listen to you specifically about your business until you stop doing that, start doing that, do that more. And just what I desperately needed when I started out was just someone who had done it before, who could tell me, cut it out, that's a bad idea, put that down, or yes, lean into this, do more of this. And I even ended up getting on a call with the big American corporate saying, listen, this is not working for me. I need somebody to answer my questions. I need specific input. So that is why I have built it into my program, the Freedom Safari. You get 3 one-on-one calls with me. Plus, forevermore, you can participate in the weekly group coaching calls. So every week we gather. You can come, you don't have to come, you can bring your questions. We end up speaking a lot about visibility and mindset on those calls, but if you've got anything practical, you can bring it. It might be something to do with setting up an ad, it might be some copy that you want reviewed, and we do it together. And so that is why that unique offer is what it is because I have been in the trenches of digital business for a long time. I had my first journey, then as I said, I had B&B Made Easy, which became really successful. It was a fantastic program. I got to the point where other people were promoting it in that third kind of audience, affiliate partnerships, and bam, 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 2020 came and it didn't even help me that I had an online course-based business because the subject matter of my online course-based business was hospitality. But lucky for me, myself and my team already knew all the shenanigans involved in launching online business. So we literally just shifted our focus and started doing done for you course launches. And over the past 4 years, that is the space that I've stayed in. And I have seen every kind of niche, every kind of person make a business work in this space using the influence phase, income phase, and then impact phase. So if you are here, if you have participated in the monthly recurring revenue bootcamp and you are ready, then this is my invitation to you to jump in. Come on in, join us, have fun with us. I've already have a wonderful group of people who've enrolled in the last couple of days. We have our alumni from our last round who stay in the group and the community, and we just support each other to make it work. So if you've been looking for someone who actually knows what in the hell to do, you found me and you found our community. If you're looking for someone to boss you around and tell you, stop doing that, start doing this, you found me. If you are looking for someone who knows what tech to use and how it all fits together, you found me. If you are looking for somebody to just hold your hand and hold you accountable and say, stop dilly-dallying, stop stuffing about, just stop all of the procrastinating and just start, then you found me. You found us. You found your community. That's what we do inside of Freedom Safari. So the invitation to you is that if you want to speak with me one-on-one, I'm going to be packing my gift boxes for the students who are meeting in the bush at the end of this week. I'm going to be around over the course of tomorrow. I'm going to be driving up into the bush. I'm going to be setting up the retreat so I can answer your WhatsApps. I can have a quick Zoom call with you. You have until midnight on the 10th of April to decide if you are going to take the step and if you are going to join us inside of Freedom Safari, and if you are finally, once and for all, going to give yourself the time and the intention and the investment that you know you've been wanting to do to get your digital business started. Whether it is your main business or whether it is your side hustle, it makes no difference. It is the exact same influence, income, impact phase that you need to work through. So I'm going to go and check on all the socials now. I've been streaming to multiple places, so I want to see if there's any comments or questions come in while I've been chatting. And if there is, I will hang back and answer them for you. And then I will bring this session to a close just after that. So if you do have some questions, go ahead and write them wherever you're watching this. I'll get a notification and I will get you the answers that you need. So I'm just having a little quiz to see who has anything to ask or anything to say. And while I do that, I can remind you about some of the magnificent people who have already been in your shoes. Like Mandy, I'm sure if you did the bootcamp, you saw the beautiful story of Mandy Fenter, who joined my 2019 version of this program. And through the difficulty of trying to understand all the tech, because back in 2019, I did not include Done For You Tech. You had to do your own tech in 2019. And through that challenge, she started art journaling to help herself cope with all of those skills. And out of the art journaling process she was using to vision her reality and to cope with the stress of the tech, she had the idea to start an art journaling membership, which she did in 2019 while we were still in that program. And slowly over the years, she has been growing it and growing it and growing it. And it is now a substantial membership that contributes to a significant portion of her overall income in her family, between her and her husband. And it is got to an exponential growing point. So it kind of tends to start quite slowly. You have launch 1, launch 2, launch 3, launch 4, launch 5, launch 6, and so it starts to compound. So Mandy and her husband now live in Jeffreys Bay. They homeschool their kids. They go for walks on the beach in the middle of the day. They have a lifestyle that they never dreamed possible when they first joined my program as exotic bird breeders that were literally chained to one location and hourly feeding, and felt like a dark tunnel between where they are now and where they started out. So no matter what your current circumstances, it is worth starting this business model. I mean, it makes me think of Marianne. Some of you might have seen her interview. She is a midwife who has been in the industry for 40 years, and you can't think of anything more hands-on a job than a midwife. But I love her story because the way, after working together in her one-on-one sessions, we strategized to, instead of serving her current audience in her existing midwifery business, where she serves pregnant mothers, we shifted to build an audience of other midwives, since she had such a authority in the space. And now her digital business is supporting a community of other midwives to debrief after birth experiences. And then she has an upsell offer, a one-on-one mentorship offer called Midwife in Your Pocket, where other midwives can ask you anything, in the same way that I have a premium level offer called Wing Woman, where you can ask me anything as we work together week by week. So I want to just let you know from those two examples that there is no current version of your business that is not possible to put in a mentorship, membership, coaching offer. I haven't seen one yet. So on that note, I want to invite you to come on in, join me inside a Freedom Safari. Hop onto the page. On the page, there is an ability to WhatsApp me directly. If you have anything that's keeping you back, anything you need clarity on, feel free to pop me on WhatsApp. Otherwise, I'll see you on the inside. It's been such a pleasure to spend time and space here with you, and I can't wait for us to begin working together.